Godzilla's legacy, celebrating 70 years of the iconic monster. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the legacy of one of cinema's most enduring and iconic figures, Godzilla. Can you believe it's been 70 years since the king of the monsters first roared onto the big screen? From destroying cities to saving humanity, Godzilla has done it all. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and let's take a journey through 7 decades of monster mayhem. The birth of a legend. Post-war Japan and the origins of Godzilla. You know, to really understand Godzilla, we've got to go back to Japan in the 1950s. The country was still reeling from the aftermath of World War II and the devastating nuclear bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There was this palpable fear of nuclear technology and its destructive potential. So what did the filmmakers in Japan do? They channeled those fears into art. They wanted to create something that would symbolize the horror of nuclear destruction, and thus, Godzilla was born. The original film, Gojira, 1954. Released in 1954, the original film, Gojira, wasn't just a monster movie. It was a dark, intense drama that reflected the anxieties of the time. Godzilla wasn't the hero, he was this unstoppable force of nature, a metaphor for nuclear devastation. The plot revolves around a giant prehistoric sea monster awakened and empowered by nuclear radiation, wreaking havoc on Tokyo. The film struck a chord with Japanese audiences, offering a cathartic experience and a stark warning about the dangers of nuclear weapons. It was a massive hit, both critically and commercially, and it laid the groundwork for everything that came after. Evolution through the eras. The Showa era, 1954 to 1975. Moving into the Showa era, things started to shift. Godzilla went from being this terrifying symbol of destruction to something of a hero, or at least an anti-hero. During this time, we were introduced to a whole roster of new monsters: Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, you name it. Godzilla started battling these other kaiju, protecting Earth from threats even worse than himself. It was like watching a wrestling match between titans. Notable films from this era include King Kong vs. Godzilla, 1962, Mothra vs. Godzilla, 1964, and Destroy All Monsters, 1968. These movies became more lighthearted and kid-friendly, focusing on spectacle and monster battles. The themes expanded beyond nuclear anxiety to include environmental issues and space threats. The Heisei era, 1984 to 1995. Then came the Heisei era, which brought Godzilla back to his darker roots. Starting with The Return of Godzilla in 1984, the films ignored the lighter entries and acted as direct sequels to the 1954 original. The special effects got a serious upgrade, and the storytelling became more sophisticated. The films delved into genetic mutations, bioengineering, and the consequences of human hubris. Key films include Godzilla vs. Biollante, 1989, and Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, 1995. The latter of which features one of the most emotional endings in the series. The Millennium Era, 1999 to 2004. The Millennium Era was all about reimagining. Each film, except for a couple, served as a standalone story or rebooted the timeline. This gave filmmakers the freedom to explore different themes and modernize Godzilla for new audiences. Movies like Godzilla 2000, Millennium, 1999, and Godzilla Final Wars, 2004, experimented with new monsters and plotlines, embracing CGI technology while still honoring the Suitmation tradition. It was a mix of nostalgia and innovation. The Reiwa era, 2016-present. Most recently, we've entered the Reiwa era with Shin Godzilla, 2016, which was a critical and commercial success. This film offered a fresh take on Godzilla, portraying him as an ever-evolving creature and providing sharp commentary on bureaucracy and disaster response. With advances in CGI, the filmmakers could depict Godzilla in ways that were previously impossible. And guess what? There's more on the horizon. New films and projects are in the works, ensuring that Godzilla's legacy continues to grow. Godzilla in the West. Early introductions. Godzilla didn't stay confined to Japan for long. The original, Gojira, was re-edited and released in the US in 1956 as Godzilla, King of the Monsters, with added scenes featuring American actor Raymond Burr. These edited versions made Godzilla accessible to Western audiences, and over time, he gained a cult following. Midnight screenings and monster movie marathons helped cement his status as a global icon. Hollywood adaptations. Hollywood couldn't resist the allure of Godzilla and decided to make their own versions. First up was the 1998 Godzilla, directed by Roland Emmerich. Let's just say it wasn't everyone's cup of tea. Fans criticized it for straying too far from the source material. Godzilla looked different, acted different, it just didn't feel like Godzilla. But then came Legendary Pictures with their Monsterverse. Starting with Godzilla in 2014, they aimed to do justice to the character. They followed up with Godzilla, King of the Monsters in 2019 and Godzilla vs. Kong in 2021. These films have been pretty successful in bringing Godzilla to a new generation, combining spectacle with respect for the original themes. Cultural exchange. What's cool is how Godzilla has acted as a bridge between Eastern and Western pop culture. Western filmmakers and media have been influenced by Godzilla, while Japanese creators have been inspired by Western interpretations. It's this ongoing cultural exchange that keeps the character fresh and relevant. Iconic foes and allies. The monster roster. Let's talk about some of Godzilla's most memorable foes and allies. First up, Mothra, a giant moth deity who often teams up with Godzilla to fight greater threats. Then there's King Ghidorah, the three-headed dragon from outer space, arguably Godzilla's arch-nemesis. Don't forget Rodan, the gigantic pteranodon, and Mechagodzilla, a mechanized doppelganger built to destroy Godzilla. The list goes on. Anguirus, Gigan, Biollante, they all add depth and excitement to the franchise. Symbolism behind the monsters. These monsters aren't just cool designs, they often represent deeper themes. For example, King Ghidorah symbolizes external threats or invasive species, while Mechagodzilla can be seen as commentary on the dangers of militarization and technological advancement. The battles between these kaiju often reflect environmental concerns, societal issues, and moral dilemmas. Memorable battles. Who can forget the epic showdown between Godzilla and King Ghidorah in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, 1991? Or the team-up of Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan against King Ghidorah in Godzilla, King of the Monsters, 2019. These battles aren't just eye candy, they carry weight and significance that impact the overall narrative of the series. Behind the scenes, special effects evolution. Now, let's peek behind the curtain. In the early days, they used suitmation, where actors donned monster suits and stomped around miniature sets. Pioneers like Eiji Tsuburaya made this an art form. As technology advanced, so did the effects. The franchise transitioned into CGI and motion capture, especially noticeable in films like Shin Godzilla. It's fascinating to see how these techniques evolved, enhancing the storytelling without losing the essence of what makes Godzilla special. The people who brought Godzilla to life. Directors like Ishiro Honda shaped the series with their vision. Actors like Haruo Nakajima, who played Godzilla in 12 consecutive films, brought personality to the character. Composers like Akira Ifukube created iconic music that still sends shivers down our spines. There are countless stories and anecdotes from these creative minds that added layers to the franchise. Production challenges and triumphs. Making these movies wasn't always smooth sailing. They faced budget constraints, technological limitations, and tight schedules. But despite the hurdles, the teams found innovative solutions, like using optical illusions or creative camera angles, to bring these colossal creatures to life. Cultural impact and legacy. Godzilla in media and merchandising. Godzilla's influence extends far beyond films. There are comics, like those published by IDW Publishing, video games dating back to the arcade era, and even animated series like Godzilla, the series from 1998. Merchandise? Oh boy. From action figures to clothing lines, Godzilla has been emblazoned on just about everything. Collectors around the world cherish these items. Influence on other franchises. Godzilla paved the way for other monster franchises. Films like Pacific Rim and series like Stranger Things have drawn inspiration from the kaiju genre. Even characters like the Power Rangers Megazord owe a nod to the giant monster battles popularized by Godzilla. Fan community and events. The fan community is vibrant and passionate. There are conventions like G-Fest in Chicago, where fans gather to celebrate all things Godzilla. These events feature screenings, panel discussions, and cosplay contests. It's a testament to how much Godzilla means to people around the globe. Themes and messages. Environmental awareness. One of the recurring themes in Godzilla films is environmentalism. Movies like Godzilla vs. Hedorah, 1971, tackle pollution, showing how it's not just about giant monsters, but also the real-world impact of human actions on the planet. These messages are more relevant than ever, given today's ecological concerns. Reflections on humanity. Godzilla often serves as a mirror, reflecting humanity's flaws and virtues. The films pose moral questions about technological advancement, ethical responsibility, and how we respond to disaster. It's not just destruction for destruction's sake, there's depth and meaning behind the carnage. Technological advancement and its consequences. The series frequently comments on the double-edged sword of technological progress. Nuclear power, bioengineering, and other advancements can lead to incredible benefits but also unforeseen consequences. Godzilla himself is often a byproduct of these advancements gone awry. The future of Godzilla, upcoming projects and announcements. So, what's next for the King of the Monsters? There are rumors and teasers about new films and possibly even TV series. With studios like Toho and Legendary continuing their work, there's plenty to be excited about. Fan expectations and speculations. Fans are buzzing with speculations. Will we see new monsters? Maybe a return of classics like Gigan or Biollante? How about more crossover events? The possibilities are endless, and that's part of the fun. Godzilla's place in modern cinema. Godzilla continues to adapt to modern audiences and technologies. Whether through cutting-edge CGI or compelling storytelling, the goal is to keep the character relevant while honoring his rich history. As long as there's a story to tell, Godzilla will have a place on the big screen. Well, there you have it, a whirlwind tour of Godzilla's incredible 70-year legacy. From a symbol of nuclear devastation to a beloved global icon, Godzilla has evolved but always stayed true to his roots. Personally, I've been a fan since I was a kid, marveling at the sheer scale and excitement of the films. They've made me think, laugh, and sometimes even cry. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your favorite Godzilla moments? Drop them in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this trip down memory lane. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, keep roaring.